Welcome back in, everybody, to the Lucky Shots podcast with Dylan Corbett. We are on week 6 now of Lucky Bets. I think Dylan's in a good mood. I heard him singing as he went and got his coffee right before we started. So it was a good week
That's
for
good
you.
coffee.
There you go. Let's just take a look back at last week. I got to toot my own horn a little bit. 3 of the 5 games that I was calling for an upset actually happened. We start with Green Bay and New York Giants. Cashed in there, plus 360 dog in London. Woke up. I didn't wake up in time to watch the game. I don't know. I was a little tired, but they pulled it off, and I was like, hell yeah, there we go. 1 for 1. Texted Dylan immediately. I said 1 for 1. The rest of it kind of went to shit, but hey, 3 of 5 wasn't bad. I also cashed in on the Jets. At a plus 143 dog. In Dallas, cashed in on them as well at a plus 192 dog. But how about one that I didn't even talk about was Houston. Houston was a plus 250 dog, and they took home the win as well.
The classic AFC South melting pot, like disgusting. It helped the Colts. I was pretty exposed on the Colts. Like I thought that was going to be a win. And as ugly as it was a win in overtime over your Broncos. That Giants, I woke up, I saw they were down 2 touchdowns. I'm like, oh, okay. I woke up the end of the game, they're about to win. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, I think it's funny because their fans are like kind of embracing it. They're calling themselves the worst 4-1 team in football, but 4-1's 4-1. That was, I mean, those are pretty much the big underdogs. Raiders was a big play. Money line didn't cash, but everyone was on Chiefs spread, and +7 was without a sweat.
Yeah, that one was a little closer. Maybe the Chiefs wanted to challenge themselves a little bit, let them get out to an early lead and see if they could.
I heard it exactly. Yeah, they love being down 2 touchdowns. I heard a crazy stat where it's like Carr does really bad in cold weather and in Kansas City, but the one time he's had one good game prior to this past week. And it was in Kansas City when it was still warm out, which was the case this past week. So it's something like Kirk Cousins too. They don't like cold weather, but when it's not just cold yet, that early October game, Carr can give you one of those.
All right, so let's hop into this week. Do we bet against Green Bay again, going up against the Jets this week, sitting at plus 270? I kind of like it. I'm choosing it as an upset. Might as well. Green Bay, I don't know. If you lose to the Giants when you're not supposed to lose to them, why not? Why not take it? I also like Carolina sitting at plus 360 against the Rams. Rams offense can't score a fucking touchdown, so let's try for it. Why not? I mean, yeah, Carolina isn't fantastic, but apparently neither are the Rams. So I don't mind that one as well. Seattle against Arizona, sitting there at a dog as well. I kind of like that. I mean, Arizona's not playing all that great. Seattle's playing better than expected, even being 1-4. They're performing better than that record shows. Not on defense, offensively, they're looking pretty all right. I also like New England against Cleveland. I don't know who the hell the quarterback's going to be. I think it might be Bailey Zappi again. But no Damian Harris. That screwed me over in our DFS last week and in normal fantasy. Went 0-3 again, if you were wondering. But Ramondre Stevenson, he's a stud. Ran for like 160 some yards. Had, I think, a total of 175.
Yeah.
Guy's a stud. And then Jacksonville's a dog against Indy. I still don't think Indy's that good. Jacksonville, I've seen more, and there's some hope. So let's take Jacksonville over Indy.
I like a lot of those. Indy, I think, is waiting for a classic falter at home, bounce back for Jacksonville, letdown for Indy. I'll go to tonight. I don't know. Yeah, I'll be watching this because I'm going over to a Bears fan's house. But people are not going to be plugged into this. But you know what? I will be. You know what? I was thinking the Commanders. Now, I would just keep an eye out for the Commanders. I don't know who's going to win this game. I think it's a coin flip. I marked them down earlier in the week. Now I'm kind of getting salty on it. The Ron Rivera comments are funny where he's literally just throwing Carson Wentz underneath the bus. But I mean, Rivera hasn't been a shining star either. So I don't know. It's kind of shifting blame all over the place there. Let's see. What else did I mark down here? How about the Saints? I don't know what it is. They had a bad performance against the Seahawks. I think people liked what they saw with the Bengals playing tough against Baltimore.
But they always do.
Exactly. Yeah. And they ended up losing that game, right?
Yeah.
Like 2-3. Saints come in 2-3 as well. I think you can take the points here or just play up straight up money lines +2 right now. Like, why is that line so close? As opposed to, as you said, like the Jets and the Packers, where it's like, wait a second, why is this line so long? So I think I'll play the Saints at home. That's my first official play. Let's keep the money train rolling. The Falcons, we talked about it last week. Only team that has not lost against the spread. The back door was left wide open for them with Tampa Bay last week. Cash it again. I'm going back to the well until it stops, I guess. This is probably the week it does. But let's see. You're getting 6 at the beginning of the week. Now it's at 5.5. This 49er team, I don't know. It's like they show up one week, they collapse the next. I think why not? If you're getting points with Atlanta again, and all they do is, well, San Francisco's had a couple of nice games with Carolina. That game got Rule fired. I just think why not? Falcons, let's keep the money train rolling there.
Yeah, why not? Like you said, just you look at those little statistics. They haven't blown it yet this year. Might as well just keep going to it. All right, so let's hop into DFS, where I'm sitting between two lineups. One lineup, I'm taking 2 lower end running backs so that I can take one bigger wide receiver. The other one, I'm taking 2 stronger running backs, a running back I really believe in, but I got to take a shitty wide receiver too. So we'll let you start with your quarterback, and I will continue to sit here and stew.
Yes, I like it. Well, I'm going back to the well. Josh Allen. It's just death taxes and a 30 burger, or at least a fire symbol next to Allen's name in DFS. You're paying up for it, but again, he's going to get you points on the ground, through the air, touchdowns through the air, touchdowns on the ground. I mean, it's just almost an automatic plug for me at that point at quarterback.
Yeah, it's not a bad play. Both lineups, I have Kirk Cousins, so I'll spout that one off right now. Going up against Miami. Miami's defense, pretty atrocious. Not great. So let's go for them. They're 30th against the quarterback position, only 6,000. So gives me a little wiggle room. Not one of those top quarterbacks, but it is Kirk Cousins. He started off hot last week. Game didn't go all that great. They still won, but started off pretty hot last week. Let's get him in there against Miami.
Yeah, and that's a banged up secondary as well. Something's up with that game. They're going to have their third string quarterback. Vikings fans loving their season so far. They're, traveling to the East Coast, Kirk on the road. It's still deathly hot in Miami. We'll see. But yeah, I like that play for value as well. Running backs, I think this was the hottest waiver wire pickup. Kenneth Walker to third. Looks like it's his backfield, unless DJ Dallas wants to steal some stuff. But he's the lead back now with Penny done. So I'm giving him the reins on my fantasy DFS squad this week too. And then we talked about him, Ramondre Stevenson, workhorse last year in a 2 workhorse, backfield. Patriots, no matter the quarterback, like to run the ball, even if they have a crappy running back like Rex Burkhead. I'm leaning hard on Stevenson this week in fantasy and in DFS.
You didn't make my decision easier. When you first said Kenneth Walker, I was like, okay, I'll go with this lineup. Then you said Ramondre Stevenson. He's in my other lineup.
Yes.
You know what? We're gonna hop on the Kenneth Walker train here. Rashad Penny out for the season. Let's see what Kenneth Walker's made of. I mean, so I'm an Ohio State fan. I've seen Kenneth Walker even in college. Guy's a stud. Is it going to translate to the NFL? We really haven't seen much of him yet, but he is going up against a weak Arizona Cardinals defense. He's projected 11.5, and they're 11th against the running back position, but again, they're a fairly weak defense overall. 5,400, I'll take that. And then this is really where I just didn't want to go, but Michael Carter sitting at my running back 2, going up against Green Bay, projected 9th. They're 15th against the running back position. He's only 5,000. My only reservation is Breece Hall just had a huge game last week. But my hope is that Michael Carter still had 2 touchdowns in that game. So got to go with it. And I'm happy now with the top 2 wide receivers that I'm taking.
And a good value play for DFS, certainly, because he could be that guy to steal touchdowns. Carter's so frustrating to me because I sat him last week in a majority of my lineups, and I still, like, from a fantasy week to week or season standpoint, I still can't start him again because it's like, wait, what if he doesn't get the touchdowns? And that's like a 3-point performance.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm starting them again this week. But if you're trying to save some money, great value for a DFS lineup.
Yeah, since I've got him in my DFS, don't start him because I just everything I put in for fantasy, it's the wrong move. So that's my fantasy advice.
The
If
warning.
you hear anybody that I'm playing, don't play him.
There it is. This is my stack. They're not on the same team, but I feel like stacking them all season long. Cooper Kupp and Allen. I'm throwing Kupp in there, one quarterback, one receiver. Kupp just gets all the targets. He's, oh my God, he's a PPR Hall of Famer for sure. So he's going to anchor that. I'm going to have to go cheaper. I'm loving what I saw from Rondale Moore, also PPR. Like, don't know if he's going to get touchdowns or the deep balls. He's got the speed there, but if he's operating in the midfield, 6 catches for 60, I like. I like him in fantasy and in DFS. And then Tyler Lockett, I keep hearing people, he's kind of sandwiched in on most of the dead afternoon slate games with the Seahawks. I mean, Geno's still finding a way to be one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football. So obviously the receivers are doing some part, and I'll go with Lockett this week.
Yeah, Lockett had a decent week last week. And only thing to keep in mind is Kupp did not practice yesterday.
I saw that. I thought he was questionable last week too, but then ended up playing. But yeah, he's definitely banged up.
It's a foot injury, I think I saw.
Yeah.
So something to monitor if you do have Cooper Kupp in any of your lineups. So this is why I had to go cheaper on running backs. We're taking Justin Jefferson playing Miami. He's projected 19.2. Miami's 24th against the receiver position. He's 8,900. Stack him up with Kirk Cousins. Really like that play. And then taking Stephon Diggs. Really like that play now that you're taking Josh Allen, because that can kind of even things out a little bit.
Sure.
Going up against Kansas City, who's 26th against the receiver position, projected 20.9, 8,400 there. I think I picked him last week, George Pickens. I'm liking what I'm seeing, man. I mean, 2 straight weeks. I think he had like 16 this week, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 the week before against, and 16 against, what was it, Buffalo? They played Buffalo.
Yep.
I mean, still getting the job done against a good defense. It's another tough defense against Tampa Bay. So it's going to be rough sledding. And how about that? Start your first 2 starts as an NFL quarterback for Kenny Pickett. You get Buffalo and Tampa Bay right away. Tough draw, but I do like Pickens going into that game. It could be a dud because it is Tampa Bay, but who knows? If I can get another 15 out of him, I'll be happy.
Yeah. And he's getting those targets. I think Pickett likes him, and I feel like he's the number 1 receiver right now. I mean, Deontay Johnson, he had an okay week in even half PPR, but he's been a nightmare as a guy that I drafted to be like a number 1 guy. All right, my tight end, I'm going to quickly divulge to you as I let my dog in. I'm going Higbee as I did last week. It's almost like he's the second option for Stafford. He's not going to get you big yards, but he's got lots of targets, maybe 50 yards and a tutty. Tutty's the one we're holding out hope for. Actually, I'm going to give you my flex too because it's the good old double tight end there for me. Dalton Schultz screwed me. Oh my goodness, I would have cashed even more than I already did.
Yeah,
because I got a fat goose egg in there.
Well, let's just keep in mind he said Dalton Schultz screwed him over. He scored 166 points last week because of Fournette, Hall, and Cup. So you can have Dalton Schultz crap on you. I don't care.
That's very fair. Well, let's see. Let's hope this guy doesn't get injured. I'm going Hayden Hurst, a guy I'm looking at tight end spot in season-long fantasy too. He's all of a sudden, this is a guy who's done it at a couple stops now. He's capable. And, if he gets open, hopefully Burrow continues looking his way.
Yeah. So for me, tight end position, it's a guy that I go with every week. It's just the consistency. He's always at the same amount. And for that consistency, I got to take Zach Ertz going up against Seattle. He's projected 12.5. And I really like the fact that Seattle is 32nd against the tight end position. So dead last against tight end position. Get him for 4,900. Zach Ertz, that consistency is just it's key. And I probably will continue to plug him in at my tight end position because I can get him for under 4,000 and expect at least 10 points a week. So I really like that play. Then at the flex, he seemed to be the number one guy last week, even in a absolutely terrible game. Alec Pierce for the Colts going up against Jacksonville.
My God.
Projected 9.7. Jacksonville's sixth against the receiver position. So again, it's kind of a tough play, but he's 4,300. If he can get the amount of targets he got last week, hopefully the Colts can actually score touchdowns this week. I don't know, but it's a risk I got to take going up against a team that's on 2 straight losses, and he got those targets last week.
I love Pierce. I think he is because what is it? Derek Stingley, I think for Jacksonville is going to be probably shadowing Pittman. People are locking in on Pittman. I heard an interesting take though this week where it's like, well, now people are going to have to look at Pierce. He's kind of established himself as the rookie. He's getting those targets. He's getting those receptions. Yeah, I love him. It's guy I think I'm starting in a decent amount of lineups this week. But I hope he does squat nothing because I got the Jaguars defense for my DFS. I mean, I watched every single excruciating dropback from Matt Ryan on that Thursday night. It's bad. I mean, I couldn't believe he didn't get benched. But hey, Matty Ice, he did what he did when it mattered. That's all he does.
Yeah. Thank goodness you guys were playing the Broncos, who have a equally or worse than offense. I don't even want to talk about the Broncos.
I mean, thank God for the AFC West is all I got to say. Otherwise, the Colts don't have a single win. Chiefs and the Broncos. I'm going Jaguars defense. I think it's going to be rough for Matt Ryan. And Taylor, again, probably out, if not already out. And, what's Nyheim? Hine status. Philip Lindsay isn't in Colorado anymore for his homecoming. I mean, the offense is that offensive line might be worse than Boston College's offensive line. What is going on here? I'm cursed watching the big boys up front. Jaguars defense.
So I went with the absolute cheapest option, and I don't even mind it. I'm going with the Panthers defense against the Rams.
Yeah.
Rams offense, they first of all have a very hard time scoring touchdowns. Matt Stafford gets sacked a lot. He's bound to throw a couple interceptions. Why not? There's 30, so they're ranked 32nd against defenses. So that means every week they allow one of the better defenses per week. I'm not minding it. I'll take the Panthers defense. They're only 2,400. They were the absolute cheapest option, and it kind of opened up everything else for me. So, if Jefferson and Diggs don't get at least 30 this week, I feel like I'm in trouble. But that's okay because hopefully Diggs will negate some of your Josh Allen points. Jefferson with Cousins, hopefully that stack pays off. And, maybe Kenneth Walker is just a diamond in the rough we haven't seen yet. So,
yeah,
either way, it's going to be good. Dylan's up 3-2.
Bring it on.
Got to get back in this week. All right, so let's hop into props now. Dylan still has a 6-point lead there, 23-17. We both got 4 points last week. Okay. Not all the same 4 points, but 4 points nonetheless. Let's start out with the quarterback position as we normally do. We're going Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. Who's going to have more fantasy points? They both average 19 a game. Both guys looking a little rough so far this season. In Herbert's defense, it's because he's got some fucked up ribs, but nonetheless, they're
O-line banged up. Yeah, it's been brutal.
Nonetheless, they both average 19. Herbert's going against Denver, who I would argue is a tougher defense. Burrow going up against New Orleans.
I've got a trade that I was offered basically Herbert and Burrow in a straight up swap. But as part of a different trade, but I'll run that by you on my show to get the fantasy advice. I'll go Herbert here just for, he needs a big game. Come on.
Yeah. I hate to bet against Herbert, but the Denver defense, they're legit, dude.
I know.
Top 5. and I would even put them at the third best defense so far this season. You've got Tampa Bay and Buffalo, the top two. And then I think it's Denver and Dallas's defense are the next two up. The only reason Denver's defense doesn't look good as Dallas's is because Denver's not winning.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I'm going to go with Burrow going against the Saints there. I don't like it because Burrow hasn't done much, but if they're both, sitting at the same average and Burrow's going against a slightly less good defense, then I'll have to take that. Yeah. Sticking at the quarterback position, we're going with a head-to-head matchup. And who would have thought we would be comparing these two guys? Kyler Murray or Geno Smith. 4 fantasy points this week. Murray's averaging 19.8. Smith is averaging 19.6. Yeah. And they're going head-to-head this week. Who do you got?
Wow, that's a great one. Murray's been like quietly okay fantasy-wise. A lot of that's been in garbage time. You said that Geno's been the apple of everyone's eye because it's Geno Smith. We didn't think we'd be talking about him seriously in 2022 as one of the best fantasy quarterbacks, but here we are. D-Hop slowly coming back. Moore is back. God, the Seahawks are just so bad defensively. So are the Cardinals. This could be a fantasy bonanza game. I'll go Murray.
Okay. I'm going to go with Geno Smith. Last time I bet on Geno Smith, it worked out for me. And you, speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, I desperately need him back. He is in every single one of my leagues. I currently have, I think, 2 wins to show for fantasy football this year. It's getting embarrassing. I'm getting just tired of it. I need to get a couple wins this week, and then D-Hop come back next week. I start running the table. One of my lineups, I literally only had Mike Boone as a healthy running back because
I'm starting Mike Boone this week. Yeah,
Harris got hurt. You've got Swift, who's been hurt the last 2 weeks. Now he's got a bye. Javonte Williams was one of my starters. He's out for the season. I was able to go pick up Kenneth Walker, so I'm hoping that Mike Boone and Kenneth Walker can get it done this week, but I don't have too much.
I've got, I think, Mike Boone and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, it's ugly. I told you last week I started Mostert and Edmonds. Mostert was great. Edmonds got a point. He had 1 touch. I could have started Carter, maybe won my, I had a put. I know. Okay. Fantasy's been going good. It's funny. Like, I've got 7 leagues. 3 are like really good with 1 loss. One's like, I think 500 or a little bit lower. And then there's like 2 in the crapper.
Right. And if I told you I had a lineup with Austin Eckler and Nick Chubb, do you think I would lose?
Who's your receivers?
St. Brown.
Injured.
Yeah. Mike Evans. Yeah, it is a good lineup, and I have 1 win. I've got Brady at quarterback. If it would ever load here, dear Lord. My Wi-Fi, I swear to God. Okay, so Brady's my quarterback. I've got Evans and Pickens this week because St. Brown is on the bench. Then Eckler, Chubb. I've got either nope, I just have, tight end Irv Smith. Playing my flex as Pat Freiermuth this week. So I've got D-Hop there though, so he's gonna be in at some point, but it's getting tough.
See, that's one of those where it's like you buy low, where it's you're hoping. Like one of my leagues, I'm 1-4, I think now. Yeah, that makes sense, right? And I'm like, I'm second in the league, or I've scored a lot of points. I'm second in the league in points against. I'm looking at my roster. I'm kind of just like, come on, can I just go on a run here? And we're not over yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're nearing the halfway point. So I'm just hoping it's not too little too late to make a run. Definitely worst fantasy start I've had ever. My last worst fantasy start was 0-4. Came back, made the playoffs, made a playoff run. So I'm hoping 0-6 you can still do.
Yeah. No, right.
All right. So let's hop into the running back position. 2 guys that had really big breakout games last week. One of them is going to be the only guy in that backfield. We got Ramondre Stevenson or Breece Hall. Who's going to have more total yards? You got Stevenson, who had 175 last week. Breece Hall, his number is a little higher, 197, but he did have like a 90-yard catch. Too bad that didn't get in the end zone. That would have helped me out. But who's got more this week? Stevenson going against Cleveland and Hall going against Green Bay. Total yards.
Got to go with Stevenson. I'm hoping they just, again, it's Zappy. I'm just thinking that I mean, they're just going to be handing the ball off, and now no Harris, maybe replicate what happened last week. I mean, he's going to get 20, 25 carries, I think. And it's just too hard to ignore those numbers. And who knows, like, what could Hall's day have been if those touchdowns went to him, So that's what's interesting. But I don't know. I'm super high on both these guys. I guess for my own selfish purposes, I want Ramondre.
Yeah, I got to take Stevenson as well. I liked him last year a lot. He's just a stud, man. You watch him run. He's the same reason I love Javonte. The guy doesn't go down on first contact, fights through. He can get hit at the line and still gain 5 yards, or he could be in the open field, have one guy to beat, and he just runs their ass over and gets 10 to 15. So I really like him. Nothing against Brees Hall. Last week was the first we've actually been like, Brees Hall is a thing. So
right. Yep.
I like Stevenson. All right, so let's move on to two less lucrative running backs. You got Devin Singletary or Melvin Gordon. Who's going to get more touches this week? You got Singletary going against Kansas City, and you got Gordon going against the Chargers.
I think it might be Boone's time to shine like that. So I'm not going with Gordon. I'm sorry, I just blanked. Who was the other guy? Singletary. Yeah. So, I mean, I think Boone's the guy. Like, he got 10 touches. Gordon out touched him, but look at the yards, what Boone was able to do. Reception, he was finding space. Even on simple carries, he was finding space. So I'm high on Mike Boone and thus low on Melvin Gordon. So then process of elimination, I'm with Singletary.
Yeah. And I mean, let's actually look at Singletary. He's been outperforming what you would have expected him to do with Buffalo so far this season. My only reservation is that Buffalo is going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be throwing the ball.
Yep.
And when they need to run, Josh Allen's going to be running it. So my mind goes to how many catches is Singletary going to get. So I got to go reluctantly with Melvin Gordon here.
Your boy.
I really hope he doesn't touch the ball a single time, but we'll see. I think touch-wise, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. But I'm really hoping Gordon gets it. All right. Curtis Samuel or Mike Williams, who's going to have more receiving yards this week? You got Curtis Samuel going against Chicago. You got Mike Williams going against Denver.
I'm going to go with Mike Williams. People are saying, something's, if Allen comes back. I think Williams has been solid. He's always just kind of been that guy. Doesn't really get a lot of fantasy love. I love him in standard scoring, weirdly. That's where I think he's most valuable. But I'll still go with Williams here for today.
Yeah, I think I'm going Williams as well. He's just very volatile, but when it comes to receiving yards, you can have Curtis Samuel have 7 catches for 30 yards because it's all short stuff. If you're going to get the ball to Mike Williams, it could be 20 yards a touch, even if it is only 2 touches. So I'm going to go with Mike Williams. I also hope Keenan Allen's back because I've got him in a lineup, and imagine the wide receiver room if I have D-Hop and Keenan Allen in the same room.
Remember my trade? Yeah, true. Remember my trade? What was it? Chase for Allen and Pittman, right? Or maybe I got something back the other way. But
that,
kind of a wash, right? He hasn't gotten to use Allen. Pittman and Chase have both been, I think, equally disappointing. Chase maybe a little bit better, if you could say that. And I'm pretty sure the guy I traded to, just shopped Pittman away.
There you go.
So I don't know.
Gotta like when you win a trade. I'm currently not winning any of trades that I have made, but let's go with DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel. We're just gonna go basic fantasy points. How many fantasy points? Who's got more? They're both projected the exact same at 16.5. DK going up against Arizona, and Debo going against Atlanta.
Oh man, those are. I was thinking fantasy bonanza. Maybe it's Metcalf, but I guess go Debo. I don't know. It's like, has he been? I feel like people want Debo to be better for their fantasy teams. He's kind of been there, man, but they're waiting for that explosion. Maybe it happens this week. I'll bank on that.
Betting on Geno Smith, I kind of feel like I got to go DK here. It's not as like sure of a thing because Samuel can get touches from anywhere on the field. Yeah, I'm gonna go Metcalf here. I'm either digging myself an even bigger hole here, or I'm making up everything this week. So we'll see how it goes. Not too confident in that one, but I just think if I'm gonna bet on Geno, I might as well bet on Metcalf as well. Now, here's a guy you like and a guy that I like, David Njoku or Zach Ertz, who's going to get more receptions. And Njoku's going up against New England. Ertz going up against Seattle.
Something's up with, I heard about Ertz. Well, again, it's not this week, but his targets could start to evaporate once D-Hop comes back, especially those red zone targets. I think I'm buying into David Njoku finally. It's been 5-6 years, but he's finally showing his fantasy value a little bit here. I like Njoku. I think he's going to keep getting fed the ball.
Yeah, I figured you'd go that way, and I knew I would go with Zach Ertz because I'm on the Zach Ertz train at least until next week, and then we'll see what happens. But like I was saying with my DFS, he is just a consistent guy. I'm thinking he's getting at least 7 or 8 this week. And I like him better against Seattle over a team like New England that their defense can play a little bit. Seattle's defense, not so much. So I'm going to go with Ertz this week. And then if we're talking about tight ends, it's really hard to make tight end prop bets because there's like maybe 4 guys you can talk about that are like engaging at all. Let's just throw out the top 2 tight ends. Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. Yeah, you just got to.
Did you like Kelsey's line from that game? What, he had less than 35 yards and 4 scores?
All 4 touchdowns went to Travis Kelce. So who's going to have more fantasy points? Andrews has the better matchup going up against the Giants. Kelce, you'd argue this is a good matchup too, going against Buffalo, a suspected air raid of a game.
It's going to be, that's the game of the week, right? I think everyone's going to be looking for that. Who's Andrews got?
Andrews has the Giants.
Yeah, let's feast. Let's go Andrews. I like Andrews there.
I don't want to be different on so many of these where, like I said, I'll dig myself a bigger hole. I got to go Kelce. Here because I just think it's going to be an aired out game for both teams. And who do the Chiefs look to, regardless of what position they're in the game, anything like that? They look to Travis Kelce. So I'm not expecting another 4 touchdowns, but who the hell knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have like 2 the same.
So a good chance to make up some ground, maybe,
or just dig myself a bigger hole. Yeah, because I'm down by 6. We've got 8 of these. This would put us tied up if I am able to cash in on the ones that we are different on. So we'll see. Because I need to make it up in DFS. I need to make it up in props. So. But that is it for this week, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks to Dylan Corbett for making the time to get back up on the channel. Don't forget to go check out his channel, Dylan_Corbett. You can follow him on any platform, same handle as well. And I think I'll be on your show this week. So
yes, sir. We're about to record.
Check me out on that one. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining. We will see you next time.